Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now, before I start off this video, I just really want to say thank you guys all for the recent support. We've been growing really quick in subscribers, just hit 30k subs, which is literally mind-blowing to me. We're getting close to that 50k mark, which is absolutely insane to me, and I just really do appreciate all your guys' comments and likes and everything like that. My like to dislike ratio is always absolutely unbelievable, as well as all your guys' comments are always super positive. So I don't super appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So thank you guys all so much for that. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what separates a normal player, or for example yourself, or even sometimes myself, against an absolute pro player. So what are they doing that you aren't doing, or what are they doing that makes them succeed and get to the level that they are today? So if you're looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use the code WraithFN in the item shop, and let's get right into today's video. So for the first thing that they do that a lot of people tend to not do, and maybe this could be you, maybe not, but they always practice against players who are as good as them, if not better. So if you watch pro players stream, they're either normally doing one of two things. One, they're playing creative and they're doing 1v1 box fights or doing 1v1 build fights, and if they're not doing wagers, they're always playing against other pro players or people who may even be considered better than them. So for example, Mongrel will always be box fighting Benji or Kylix or Micho or one of the guys from EU who are just absolutely dominant. Booga will always be 1v1ing Stretch, like whoever it is, right? The pro players always play against the best competition that they can because they know that's how you improve. If you're just stomping someone in a box fight or a 1v1 build fight, literally 10 games to none, and you're up by 10 games, well then how are you really improving, right? Like you might feel a little bit more confident, you might feel better, but you're not overall improving. Same thing goes for their actual gameplay. They're not playing solos like for all day, right? They're playing customs, and specifically pro customs, because they know that's where their best competition is. That's where if they can beat these pro players, well then obviously they're going to be able to beat little Timmy when they run against him in a cash cup, right? So being able to practice against the best players you possibly can is so crucial to improving. Now, I'm not saying you guys have access or the ability to play against every single pro player, but what you can do is find people through Discord or just know some friends who are really good or as good, if not better than you, and continuously fight them and see what they're doing that may be killing you, and continuously fighting them until you can start beating them. Then once you start beating them, then just be like, hey, like whatever, like GG man, and then go find someone who's even better and then fight them, right? There's always, no matter who you are, unless you're the #1 player, for example, like Benji or someone like that, who even arguably may not be the best player in the world, there's always going to be someone better than you that you can fight. Now my next tip is, and I harp on this so much in game in almost every single video, is you need to have a structured schedule. Pro players, especially back in the day, now they can be a little bit more lenient because they know what's up, they know like what they need to do and what they need to practice. Pro players would have the most structured schedule by doing, for example, 30 minutes of Kovacs every single day when they hop on. Then they'd play creative, like I said, the box fights or build fights for like 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They'd then hop into customs for almost the rest of the day. And then if there's a tournament, play the tournament. If not, hop off, do some VOD review or some more creative or more Kovacs, right? They would have such a structured schedule. Like I said, nowadays it's a little bit less structured because they're already pro players. They already have really good mechanics, already have really good VOD or game sense. So they kind of have the ability to do more so of what they want to do. But back in the day, and even to this day, a lot of pro players still have an extremely structured schedule. They don't just hop on, play the game, kind of do whatever they want. They still know that they need to play Kovacs, they need to VOD review a little bit here or there, they need to do some 1v1s, they need to play some customs, or if there's a tournament, play the tournament, right? So it's super important to have a super structured schedule that you know you can follow, that you know you can stick to, and that you know other people may not be doing, and that'll give you advantage, right? If your opponent who may be as good as you, or your buddy who may be as good as you, is just hopping on and playing solos, or maybe playing some arena every single day and not really doing anything else, eventually you're going to become a lot better than him if you're actually putting in the time with a structured schedule. Now this next tip is their confidence is literally at a pro level, and you might be like, well yeah, obviously they're pro players, but it's literally true. Like the reason why they're so good is because they are not afraid of anyone. Like if they W key, they know that there's a very high chance they're going to win the fight, or the person they're fighting against is probably not as good as them, right? If you go into every single fight knowing that you have a really good chance at winning that fight, well then why are you nervous, right? Like why would you be scared to W key them? Why would you be scared when some random player W keys you in a cash cup, because you know you're a better player than them, right? And now that is a little bit hard to like get. Like you can't really do that you can't have that confidence without being able to be good enough to know that you can win most fights. So like if you lose almost every single fight in arena, or you're not doing good, you're not even in champs, well obviously you're not going to have the confidence to, in a cash cup or a tournament, to know that you can win any fight, right? So what you need to do is actually start getting better, improving your mechanics, improving your game sense, get more confidence, and then you're going to feel so much better, right? Like I said, pro players, whenever they fight someone or they get W keyed or they W key, they're not nervous of dying. They know that even in the back of their mind, if they die, they can always come back next game and drop a 10-15 kill game, right? So many people struggle with their confidence, being like, oh well, like I don't know, like if I die I'm gonna have to drop a 10 kill game and I don't know if I can do that, or I don't know, like this guy W keyed me out of nowhere, I'm at 80 HP, like I'm nervous, you're gonna mess up your edit, you're gonna mess up your wall, like whatever the case is, right? Pro players aren't like that. Someone W keys them or they do bad in the game, they're like, whatever, I know I'm good enough, I can come back here, right? No big deal. So now my next tip is that they work on their weaknesses. So pro players are really good at figuring out what they do wrong, what they aren't good at, and then fixing that. So for example, if let's just use Clix for an example. Let's say Clix's aim wasn't top tier back in like season 8, right? Season 9. I don't know exactly, but for example, what he would have done, and a lot of pros still do this to this day, is they'll go back on their VODs and they'll be like, okay, let's see. So Clix would look back at his VOD and be like, hey, you know what? I'm missing a lot of my shots. I'm missing all my shotgun shots. I'm missing some SMG sprays. Like, what am I doing wrong? So what he'd do is he'd hop in Kovacs or an aim trainer and actually start grinding that and figure out what he's doing wrong and why he's missing those shots. Same thing with building. If a lot of pro players will, I don't know, be missing a specific edit in a build fight, well then all they're going to do is hop in a 1v1 against their buddies and grind that specific edit to make sure that they don't mess up to it when the time comes. Figuring out what you're doing wrong and figuring out what your weaknesses is, whether it's your aiming, your game sense, whether it's your building, is so crucial to becoming a better player. Pro players can instantly recognize, without even having to VOD review, to figure out what they've done wrong and what they need to improve upon. They can tell if, oh, I'm missing a bunch of my shots, I clearly need to work on my aim a little bit more. Oh, my game sense isn't as good, my rotation keeps getting blocked, clearly I need to VOD review a little bit more, right? Having that self-awareness is just so important, and pro players are so good at realizing what they need to work on. So now my next thing, and this is probably the hardest thing that a lot of players won't be able to do, unfortunately though it is pretty true, and it's they are on 240 Hz, 240 FPS, and they do have really good setups. So unfortunately for a lot of players it might be a little bit more difficult because, I don't know, maybe you can't afford a 240 Hertz monitor, maybe you can't afford a 240 FPS PC, which is completely understandable. If you're younger or you have bills to pay or whatever the case is, if you can't afford that, that's 100% okay. Not everyone can afford it, but you're going to be at a disadvantage, unfortunately. If you're at 144, I mean, it's not the worst case scenario, like it's not bad, it's still obviously not the best you can do, and it's unfortunately you're still going to be at a little bit disadvantage. But if you're at 60 Hertz and you're on a console, unfortunately you're going to be at a huge disadvantage compared to pros. Now I'm not saying that you can't place on 60. Like this last FNCS, solo FNCS, there was a console kid who was literally popping off completely, and he did really well, and he's on 60 FPS and 60 Hertz, right? So I'm not saying that you can't compete. I'm just going to say you're at a big disadvantage if you're at 60 FPS or 60 Hertz. So if I was to give kind of some advice, it'd be, one would be, if you're pretty close to actually doing well and becoming a pro player, then you need to grind and get to that place where you just win a little bit of money and then try and upgrade your setup, whether it's upgrading your monitor, whether it's upgrading your PC, whatever the case is, or getting a PC or whatever the case is, right? Or number two is you unfortunately will probably have to find a way to get some jobs by working, by doing lawns, by, I don't know, working at retail store. Obviously if you're too young to work, then you can't really do too much, but unfortunately, like I said, you're just going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. 100% you can still place, you can still do all of that. I'm just saying that you probably will be at a little bit of a disadvantage comparable to these pro players, which unfortunately there's probably not much you can do, but kind of how she goes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you slap a like button on it, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.